Breaking news tonight, President Trump's chief strategist telling the media to keep its mouth shut. In a rare interview, Steve Bannon telling the New York Times, of all places, the media should be embarrassed and humiliated and keep its mouth shut and just listen for a while. He continued, you're the opposition party, not the Democratic Party. You're the opposition party. The media is the opposition party. Out front now, our senior media correspondent Brian Stelter, former Breitbart spokesman Kurt Bardella, and the editor-in-large of the Weekly Standard, Bill Kristol, who was chief of staff to Vice President Dan Quayle, which is highly relevant here. We're going to get to that in just one moment. Okay. Brian, let me start with you. This is obviously, pretty stunning. This is one of the men who has the president's ear, calling the media the opposition and doing so repeatedly.
The media is not the opposition party. On one level, he's making an important point, though. He's talking about the press needing humility in this moment, needing to understand Trump's support, Trump's voting base. Tonight, Sean Spicer telling our Jeremy Diamond, actually Kellyanne Conway telling Jeremy Diamond, I think we should all learn to listen more to America. I think that was probably Steve Bannon's central point. That's a great point. But on another level, this is highly inappropriate for a top administration official to be describing the media as the enemy. We heard Trump say he's in a war with the media. Now Steve Bannon calling it the opposition party. It's highly inappropriate.
So Bill, let me ask you, because the conversation was initiated by Bannon. He was actually going to talk about Sean Spicer and some of the claims he's made that were untrue in recent days, including voter fraud numbers, crowd size at the inauguration. So what Bannon said was, we think that's a badge of honor. Questioning his integrity. Are you kidding me? The media has zero integrity, zero intelligence, and no hard work.
Such a sensitive guy, Bannon. Such a snowflake, really, right? Poor guy. He's in the White House. They've been there 5-6 days, right? He's looking forward to 4 years. 6 months ago, he was editing a fringe website. Now he's in the White House, has the president's ear. And he's so insecure, honestly, and his boss, Donald Trump, is too, that all they can do is attack the media. I mean, fine, let them go ahead and do it. The media shouldn't apologize. It shouldn't cringe. It shouldn't say, oh, fascism is coming to America. They should treat this with contempt. Well, fine, if they want to think of the media as the opposition, that's their right. Let's go ahead and debate the issues, and let's see who wins these actual debates on the facts. Are they doing very well? Sean Spicer and Bannon and Trump having a very good week, do we think, with all the idiocy? I mean, let's not get away from Trump. I think it was a big mistake.
Yeah, this does reflect the
Trump spoke at the CIA on
Saturday.
Trump spoke at the CIA Saturday. They don't want to get, Sean Spicer had a bizarre press thing. That's all true. But what was Sean Spicer defending? He was defending a statement of the President of the United States. And as Brian pointed out, what is Bannon doing? He's repeating something the President of the United States has said.
Right.
He's the insecure narcissist in the White House who thinks he can intimidate and bully people who criticize him.
So Kurt, let me ask you, because you've worked with Bannon, you know him. He comes out and gives an interview to the New York Times, which, of all, well, maybe not the top, but certainly it's up there, right, of institutions that he thinks is the opposition that he dislikes, he hates. What's his strategy in doing this and saying this now?
Well, I think it's interesting. One, you have a situation where the people who are so critical of the media are also hungry and thirsty for their approval and their acceptance and their coverage. I think number two, what's really happening here is I think Trump and Bannon believe that their best road to success is creating chaos and creating an opposition. In the campaign, they had the luxury of 17 other Republican primary candidates. Then they had running against President Obama's record and, of course, against Hillary Clinton. And now that that's gone and they're in power, they need another boogeyman to create, to run against. And they're going to make the media that person.
Part of a perpetual campaign, and that's what we've seen for these past 7 days.
Did the media force Donald Trump to go to the CIA Saturday, his first day in office, and give the most inappropriate remarks I've ever seen a president or any senior person give on an occasion like that? Did the media force him to invent a crowd-sized fight? Did the media force him to make up the voter fraud stuff? I mean, really? I just don't think the strategy is going to work very well, is it?
They seem to think that it will be effective in then saying it is the media.
And it sure has been today.
For checking a fact. Why would you check such a petty fact? You're the petty person, right?
It creates confusion. That's right. When we fact-check the crowd size issue, suddenly we're in this very small, very small debate.
Right.
And I do think there is an element of this about confusion, about chaos, about not knowing what to believe and thus believing nothing. That is something we've seen in authoritarian climates, and it's worrisome to see any administration do it. It would be troubling for a Democrat, and today is troubling for this Republican Party.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things to remember is when you go back and look at kind of the tone and tenor of Breitbart under Bannon's watch, it was very adversarial, very confrontational, very much attacking the mainstream media as much as they could. And then candidate Trump comes along and starts adopting really that Bannon-esque style. And now he's ratcheted up to an entirely new level. It's like, what came first, Trump or Bannon? I think in this case, really, Bannon and Breitbart did, and Trump is following that lead because in his mind, he got elected. This type of messaging for them won. And I think that, it reminds me of the House of Cards line. If you don't like the way the table is set, turn over the table. Well, whether it's the CIA, whether it's executive orders, whether it's crowd sizes, they're going to constantly barrage people with content and controversy because they think that that's what works for them, and that's where they're most comfortable fighting.
Really insightful points. I mean, Bill Bannon also referred to himself as Darth Vader, which he had done before. That was, of course, Dick Cheney's nickname. You work for Dick Cheney. That's why I said this was going to come around. I know from talking to Steve Bannon that he's proud of this Darth Vader thing, this whole dark thing. He likes it. He recently told The Hollywood Reporter, "Darkness is good. Dick Cheney, Darth Vader, Satan. It only helps us when they get it wrong." The question for you is, how powerful is Steve Bannon in the Trump inner orbit right now?
Well, he certainly wants to convey the impression of power, and that's what all the bravado is about, as if he's like Dick Cheney, as if he was Secretary of Defense, as if he was a serious policymaker in the House of Representatives and in 2 different administrations, 3 different administrations, as Dick Cheney was. So let's see how powerful Bannon is. Let's see how well they do in running foreign policy. I mean, how are they doing with Mexico? The border tax, that's not going to happen. I mean, the big story today, incidentally, it's being a little obscured, you reported on it earlier, I think, and Wolf did, is the House and Senate Republicans who are meeting in Philadelphia. They're not going to pass a lot of Trump's agenda. They're not in favor of this border. They serious people looking at the unnecessary fight he picked with Mexico today because he tweeted something insulting about the president of Mexico, who then had to cancel his visit. If you're a serious Republican, you can be a conservative Republican, a moderate Republican, you can be a hawk, you can be a dove. You think this is crazy. This is crazy. So the notion that they are winning, that they've had a good week, maybe some people in the media think, oh, it's brilliant, he's sowing confusion. I think it's very destructive.
Well, as we cover this, we have to be careful. We should not be intimidated by this kind of talk, but we do have to be careful. Bannon's right when he says it only helps us when they get it wrong. When we make mistakes, when we're not humble, it does play into his goal.
That's true. The MLK statue on that, I think, is exhibit
Small
number 1.
mistake, but a great exhibit number 1. Yeah.
Right.